said you loved me? Didn't you say forever this time? Oh, I was a fool for believing your heart aching beautiful lies. Take me or leave me, don't string me along. Are you coming or going? It's the same old sad song. God made a man and he looked around at the birds of the sky and the beasts of the ground. Said, Adam, my boy, you look a little down. So God made a woman. He took a little.
What a pleasure to have you. Seriously.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Obviously not such an incredible talent, obviously, wonderful voice, your album, God Made a Woman it's a jewel. One of the what a
Thank you.
great album. Of course, Lauren, and we will get talking about that. But I have to tell you, your most impactful title, maybe just Nurse.
It seems like that's what I've been doing mostly here lately, for sure.
Lately,
And
absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
it's been a huge blessing, really. Whenever the pandemic started, and I was still on American Idol, and I had taken off like a
Mhm.
month of work because they were flying everybody out to LA for the top 20 situation, and the pandemic hit, and they flew us back home after like just a week of being out there,
Yeah.
and so like I was still like doing the virtual stuff at home with them, and I hadn't gone back to work yet, and I knew this stuff was just going to be, it was going to hit the hospital really hard. And so after I got voted off, I went right back to work, and I don't know, I felt like a sense of relief just being able to be there, and knowing I was helping my friends, and I don't know, it's a really hard time to be a nurse, but it's also been really fulfilling. Like I
Sure.
feel like I'm a part of something bigger than myself right now. So
Right.
yeah.
Right. Yeah, one of my life mottos is live with passion. And when we did the research of you, and we were looking at your life and everything, it seems like the last 2 years of your life for you, Lauren, has been. There's people that live an entire life without so much curveballs and excitement and up and downs, right? Have you like stopped, in disbelief of everything that's happened in your life the last 2 years?
Not really, but this year it's given me time to sit down and just try to like rethink some things, and I don't know, this year has given me some time to just kind of, I don't know, it's been a really heavy year this year, but
Right.
I don't know, I really feel blessed though that I was able to put out a record, put out my
Yeah.
very first music video, get like a massive fan base just from being on American Idol, and that's just everything I've ever dreamed of, really, is
Absolutely.
just being able to play music to people that want to hear it. So
Yeah.
it's been a huge blessing. So.
That's great. Great to hear, Lauren. Let's talk about your early life a little bit, if you will, and then kind of like move our way
Yeah.
to the new record, if that's cool with you.
Yeah.
So you grew up in Northeast Ohio, in the Canton
Yeah.
area. And I love
Mhm.
Northeast Ohio. I have to tell you, I love it. I love it. Very meaningful place for me. Flying to Pittsburgh, driving west, Bob Evans, Giant Eagle,
Awesome.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, your grandparents. I wanted to talk to you about Nana and Papa, right? Tell us about
Yeah.
that special bond you have with them.
Well, very early on, from the time I was a baby, they pretty much raised me and adopted me and are my parents, and my grandfather, he's a long distance truck driver, and thinks he's Waylon Jennings. He looks like Waylon Jennings. He sings like Waylon Jennings, and he's kind of like, he really introduced me to that outlaw country traditional country sound, and that was what he was into. And Nana, I was raised, I grew up in my church in Northeast Ohio in Trinity Gospel Temple.
Right.
Brother Dave Lombardi, shout out. And and I grew up singing in my church, and Nana really exposed me to a lot of like gospel music and soul and Motown, and that's really like what her thing was. And I don't know, just I was always surrounded by music growing up.
Yeah.
Both of my grandparents are music lovers, and my nana really saw my passion for music early on, and encouraged me to take singing lessons from this woman that was in our choir named Cheryl Jameson. And her husband was the sound engineer who had actually worked with artists like REO Speedwagon and
Cool.
Styx and Dan Fogelberg. And so there's little 8-year-old me, and they decided to do a little gospel record on me. That was the first CD I'd ever done. And it was just a bunch of gospel songs, but that's kind of what got the ball rolling, and I just never stopped. My Nana, anywhere Nana would drive me and stick me on stage, I'd sing. So
I love it.
but yeah.
And you mentioned your church. There's some great video out there of you, at 7 years old, rocking that stage like you're Stevie Nicks. It's pretty awesome. So it's like I couldn't believe that you're 7. So I'm like, okay, I have to ask Lauren, like, what memories do you have of like just rocking that stage at that church with such confidence, and you're just command.
Aw.
Amazing.
When you're that young, you're not afraid of anything. And I think like starting out so young and just not knowing, I feel like I probably would have had more stage fright if I was older. But when you start out so young, it's just like, you don't know, you just want to get up there and have fun, and I think growing up in church and just being exposed to music and singing in front of crowds and stuff, I think that really kind of conditioned me to know how to act on stage, know how to perform, and
Amazing.
not let nerves get in the way. So
Amazing,
yeah.
Lauren. So when you're 13, you start making these regular trips to Nashville a little bit more frequently. And you start working on your craft, on your vocals with Brett Manning, the renowned Brett Manning, for example.
Yeah.
How exciting was this for you at 13 to like start to get exposed to the big leagues like this?
It was wonderful. And I have always wanted to be a songwriter as well, and so I grew up writing like poetry and loving words and things like that. And when I was around 11 or 12, just a little bit before I started coming to Nashville, I started trying to learn some chords on guitar, and coming to Nashville, working with Brett, and just seeing how things are run here. It's like, I don't know, a lot of merit is put into songwriting as well. And I just love the whole vibe of being here. And it was just really inspirational. My heart is really in traditional country. And there's so much history here of the legends and the greats. And I don't know, a lot of reverence there too. So
that's awesome.
yeah.
And it's great that you like appreciate it and you're like receptive to it. Because I think the ghost of country will reflect on you. It's great. That's
awesome.
Fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course, Lauren. So, okay, let's touch a little bit on American Idol. I know you get asked this a little bit, but just the obligatory for my audience, obviously. Let's just briefly do like a recap of what happened. You basically almost made the top 20, controversial finish. By like a smidge, a recount, fair, not fair. Half the country's divided. You should have been in the top 20 or not. Yeah.
Sounds familiar.
Puts the election to shame, right? What happened? But anyway, but aren't you almost glad, Lauren? I know this sounds weird, the way it worked out, because when it happened, I remember that's the first time your name came into our radar, and it was like you started becoming in the headlines. Not as the winner, but as like for a different reason. But you started coming into people's radar. A lot of people felt very passionately about it, and you started charting in the iTunes country charts. It almost like picked up a life of its own. Are you almost like glad the way the Lord or life worked out for you?
Absolutely. I whenever it happened, Grace and I were both just really excited, and I didn't even expect to get as far as I did, and I was just really thankful. No hard feelings at all, and I've always just felt like, God has my future in his hands, and it's the best place for my future to be is in his hands. And her path was to continue on in that competition, and my path was for it to end right there. And whatever's to come after that, that's up to God, and I trust that. And I don't know, I just feel like it always works out better that way. There's always a reason for
Yeah,
everything. So
definitely.
I just had a good time with it while it lasted, and I made a lot of friends, and it was
Hmm.
a lot of fun.
I love it. And you know what? And you did get a chance to showcase Emmylou Harris, Two More Bottles of Wine on the Beach, and just
Yes.
rock the entire country, because that was insane. That was fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course, Lauren. So let's talk about God Made a Woman, because oh my God, Lauren, what an album!
Oh,
Like
I
like
appreciate you.
an absolute treasure of one of the things, the best things of 2020. I
Oh,
do say that I should say this to people. The music that's come out this year, and this is an example, has been very special. Um, but yeah, I mean, I want to talk about a few songs briefly. Like, I want to show you my town. Of course, we talked about where you come from in Northeast Ohio and all that stuff.
yeah, yeah.
What a beautiful tribute. What can you tell us about that song, the way it came about, and the songwriting process for it?
Yeah, well, I wrote the song with my fiance Sean, and he grew up in Arkansas, and I grew up in Ohio. And one day we were just kind of talking to each other about our hometowns, and I said, I want to show you my town, and he said, write that down. We got to write that. And so we drove around in his truck, and I was just in the passenger seat with a little parlor guitar, and by the
Nice.
end of the drive, we had a song. And not long
Amazing.
after that, we had gotten a gig in his hometown, and I got to meet his family. And not long after that, we got a gig in my hometown, and he got to see my friends and family up there and where I grew up. And it was cool because everything in it came to fruition. So
Unbelievable. So it was like a moment of inspiration during the drive.
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Like, you realize, because I'm not a musician, but I'm fascinated by the creative process, and so I love asking this stuff. You do realize
Uh,
that that's like a scene out of a movie, right? Like, you're in a truck
yeah.
with Sean, like
Yeah.
wind blowing out your hair, and you're like recording a
Yeah.
hit song.
If we do a video on it, we'll have to do that. Wind
Yes,
blowing,
absolutely.
yeah.
Drive by a
And the
giant
truck.
eagle, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, Lauren, that's fantastic. Okay, so Hello Sad Eyes. Hello Sad Eyes.
Yeah.
Very,
Mhm.
very touching song. Obviously, you touch on your work as a nurse in the front lines. Just again, tell us a little bit about it, and maybe expand like what this year as a nurse has given you as a songwriter. Maybe more characters, maybe more emotion.
Yeah. You know what? I wrote that song using a lot of experience that I've had as a nurse, before I got into my nursing career. Of course that bad things happen to people, and I mean it's something you're aware of, but it's different whenever you're actually face to face with people that are probably at the lowest point in their life. Illness has hit them, and I don't know, just hearing a lot of stories of people that are going through so much more than I've ever even dreamed of. And it's like I wrote Hello Sad Eyes just because I felt like, we're always supposed to be our brother's keeper, our sister's keeper, and always just be a helping hand to reach out, even if it's just to be present and let them know that you're there. So I mean, I wrote that song a couple years ago, but the message still rings true for what's going on right now.
Mm,
I think we really, really need to be caring and understanding and empathetic of where we're all at right now, and
yeah.
be patient with each other, because these times are like just so unprecedented. And I don't know. I have written a few songs during quarantine. I've been really busy working, and
Right.
it's just been a really heavy year. And for some reason, I don't know. I've kind of gotten writer's block. Sometimes I kind of get in my own head, and when things are kind of like they are right now. Of course, one of my favorite songwriters in town is a woman named Matresa Berg, and she wrote Strawberry Wine
Yeah.
and You and Tequila Make Me Crazy. She's just a hero of mine. And I saw that she posted on Twitter not too long ago that the times that we're in right now have just been so heavy and depressing. She's just like, I've only written like 2 or 3 songs in quarantine. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if it's okay for my hero, I guess it's
Yes.
okay for
Yeah,
me.
because everyone was saying in April, like, oh, Charles Dickens wrote his masterpiece. And it's like, well, can I just make a piece of bread? Like, can we take it easy with the Dickens?
I know.
You know?
Right, exactly. I'm coming back into it now. I just posted a brand new song that I wrote. And it's also a gospel song. It was kind of a just cry out to the Lord, just because everything's been just kind of a dark year, and so it's a song I wrote called "Giving It All to You." I just posted it up on my YouTube and on my socials and stuff. But that's one song that came out of quarantine. But anyway, yeah, it's been a crazy year, but I think we're all learning about ourselves and each other. So.
Yeah, and you know, Lauren, there is a hunger for whenever we open back up the stages and whatnot. Like people are gonna just rush to see you. There's a lot of buzz around you, around your album. That
Thank
this
you so
year,
much.
even though we've been like cooped up at home or less traveling, we're not touring, it's allowed organically to your songs to flourish as they deserve to be heard.
Well, the good thing about staying home is that like you're kind of forced to be on social media and all those things. And I don't know, I think people use social media and more specifically music to kind of like get themselves out of a funk. It's a very healing thing. And so I don't know, music is medicine, I think, just as much as anything else. So
Oh, 100%. Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely, Lauren. So, Lauren, I wanted to ask you, like, are you are your guitars in tune? Are you in the mood for a song, or do you want to go into like
Yeah.
ask about Ricky Skaggs a little bit and a little bit about that? It's like
It's
this
a
is like one of those books where you pick your own destiny.
Well, it's up to you. Ricky Skaggs is, anytime I get to brag on him, he's just the most wonderful person that I could ever imagine. And I don't know, I met him. Of course, he's been a hero of mine for a lot of years, but I met him at the Bluegrass Awards, the IBMAs, maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
Right.
And whenever Sean and I were getting ready to fly home from that, he was at our gate and we started talking, and I'm just like, I've never met him before. I really want to meet him. And so we got to talking, and he's a really, really strong Christian, and we got to talking
Mhm.
about all the old gospel songs that we
That's
love.
great.
And so it ended up that he sat with us on the ride home to Nashville, and or the flight home from Nashville. And we got to talking about, how I was making this record. And Ricky's the one, we didn't even ask him. Ricky is the one that said, well, I would love to play on that, if you guys would want me to. And I'm like, yeah, of
So
course.
humble, right? Yeah. That's so
Yeah.
cool.
Oh my gosh. Just a beautiful, beautiful person. And
Mhm.
and he made it happen. He did it in his studio. We all went there and picked a handful of songs from the record, and he put mandolin on it. And something I never really even dreamed would happen, but
Sure.
he's the best.
Unbelievable, Lauren. Things are happening. I love it. I love it. Cool. All right. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if do you want to perform or not?
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Cool.
I have let me see here.
Oh, look at that guitar. So, okay, so for the audio audience, Lauren's holding a beautiful black guitar. What type of guitar is that?
It's a black Gibson Dove.
Look at
and
that.
it's my papaw's.
Look,
And,
oh my God, it has a beautiful dove. Jesus,
yeah.
Look at that.
His dad gave it to him and he gave it to me. So
when you're going to the Country Music Hall of Fame, right there on Music Row, that's the one that's going up there.
From your mouth to God's ears.
Listen, I was going to tell you, last night were the CMA Awards. I hope you're getting, you're not going to be watching them from home much longer. I'll put it to you that way, Lauren.
I sure hope so. That's my dream.
Cool.
Well, I have a new single out right now, and a music video to go along with it. My very first music video. And it's pretty traditional country. It's called Losing My Mind. And actually in the video, we have our regular band in there. Of course, there's Sean and Pete Wasner on keys, Mike Bubb on bass, Larry Adamanyuk on drums, Guthrie Trapp on guitar, and we have, let me see, Paul Franklin, legendary steel player, who is
right.
also in it, and Aubrey Haney, legendary fiddle player. And I was blessed to have those guys on my record in the first place, but they all agreed to be in the music video as well. And so that was a huge deal to me and something I'm going to treasure forever. But anyway, it's a song I wrote with my friend Renee Martin, and it's called Losing My Mind. Oh, I thought you said you loved me. Didn't you say forever this time? Oh, I was a fool for believing your heart-aching, beautiful lies. Take me or leave me, don't string me along. Are you coming or going? It's the same old sad song. We're crazy to keep on repeating our history, time after time. Either you must be losing your memory, or I must be losing my mind. So just leave your boots by the doorway. We both know it won't be that long till you break a promise you made me. Does it feel right to do me so wrong? Oh, take me or leave me, don't string me along. Are you coming or going? It's the same old sad song. We're crazy to keep on repeating our history, time after time. Either you must be losing your memory, or I must be losing my mind. Either you must be losing your memory, or I must be losing my mind. Oh, I thought you said you loved me.
Lauren Mascitti.
Oh.
Goosebumps, marvelous, extraordinary. There are no words. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
It's been an
Thank you so
absolute
much
pleasure,
for having
Lauren.
me.
Thank you for coming.
It's been a pleasure with you.
Have a great rest of the winter. And listen, when you get nominated for your first CMA and your first Grammy, we expect you back on the show.
Absolutely. I'm praying for that in the name of Jesus.
Absolutely. All right, Lauren. Take care.
Thank you so much. You too.